All right, I think we can get started. So thank you very much, everybody, for joining us on our Marketing Best Practices webinar brought you by Creoate. This is meant to show you how to boost your brand and sales in 2022. Just a quick reminder, we are recording this and we are live also on Facebook, although none of the participants are going to be live or shown, so no worries there, but I just wanted to let you know. Again, my name is Will. I'm the CMO of Creoate. It's a pleasure to have you with us. This is the first of 3 webinars that we're going to be doing this week to celebrate Creoate Month. For those that don't know what Creoate Month is, it is an anniversary of the founding of Creoate. So rather than having an anniversary day, we have an anniversary month. We're gonna give you guys a lot of promotions and discounts over this month. You probably have seen some of those already on our social media. But why don't we go back a little bit and talk about the house rules really quickly. So please, I know this is kind of a little bit annoying, but please use the chat respectfully. Keep your audio muted for the remainder of the webinar. If you have any questions, do post them on the chat and we will actually get to them at the end of the webinar. And anyway, participate, enjoy the webinar, and let's get started. So, give me 2 seconds. So the idea is, what is Creoate? Some of you have already maybe purchased with Creoate. Others, maybe this is your first interaction. And right now I'm putting kind of my marketing hat on, and I'm going to try to share a little bit of what Creoate is and what our vision is. We're a community that connects wholesalers with independent retailers, whether small or medium. We really want to help and empower retailers to better optimize and also excel and grow their business. We offer a lot of tools to help you in that process, and a wide selection of brands that you can choose from in our website. I encourage you to take a look at our website and see what you find. I'm confident you're going to find many articles, many items that you will enjoy. Also take advantage of our discount offers. This month we have a 20% discount for anybody for your purchase, as long as it's done in the month of January. And on top of that, we also offer you a 10% discount on your 2 additional purchases. If you're a brand new customer to Creoate, you get a one-time 25% discount this month. And today we're actually announcing a new initiative that is going to be Take 200 Off promotion. So this week and this week only, whatever you purchase on Creoate's platform, you can automatically take 200 pounds off of that order, as long as the order is 400 pounds or above. So that's a fantastic offer. I encourage you to take advantage of that. So that's it. I'm taking off my marketing hat for now, and let's get back to it. I want to introduce you to one of our first presenters. Joao is a growth marketing manager at Creoate. Joao, pleasure to have you.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for being with us today. Thank you, Will, for the introduction. We'll have those codes for everyone. Just a recap, we'll have those codes in the end of the presentation, so please stick around and we'll share all those codes with you guys. Yeah, let's get started. So we'll be talking about different marketing techniques that our great team uses to get in front of our customers, right? And to delight our own customers. And I think the pillars that govern everything for us in the marketing team can be summarized by this amazing book. So for those of you who haven't read it or haven't heard of it, you're in for a treat. Dr. Robert Cialdini is a famous psychologist, and his works and his theories are used by the greatest marketers and business people around the globe. There are 6 fundamental concepts to his principles of influence, right? So the psychology of persuasion that he calls it. The first one is reciprocity. All of these are based out of human biases that we all have, and that can be leveraged for our purposes of marketing our services and products. So the first one, reciprocity, just says that we're more inclined to give back when someone adds value to us upfront. But with the value added upfront, we feel inclined to give back as a result, and that can be used in many ways in your checkouts, in your sites, by giving content for free and having introducing that reciprocity necessity for your customers to engage in purchases, etc. The second one is social proof. Us humans, we like to be part of a group, and we feel safe being part of a group. So when we see similar people like us or people that we trust purchasing something or doing a specific action, we're more inclined to copy that action and feel safe doing so. The third one is commitment, which refers to that behavioral bias of once we've committed some time, some effort, some amount of money, we're more inclined to continue that commitment and not easily give it up. And that's something that we see in many of the stores online, and I think that we can also leverage. The fourth one is authority. I think we all feel safer making decisions in the face of someone who's authoritative. The same goes for Robert Cialdini, right? We're safe applying his principles because he is an authority in psychology, and we feel like his theories are actually sound. So that's the fourth one. The fourth one is scarcity. We want what we can't have, isn't it? So the laws of government, the laws of supply and demand govern pretty much every market interaction. So I think that one is a principle that we all use. And liking is that we're more inclined to purchase from people and organizations that we like and whose values we connect with. So these are the principles that govern everything that we're going to be talking about, that we can apply to everything from paid marketing to email marketing to landing page optimization to content. So yeah, now I'd like to introduce you to our colleague, Hannah.
Thanks, Joao. Hi, everyone. Yeah, I just wanted to spend a few minutes talking to you guys about copywriting. So I am a content marketing manager here at Creoate. I do a lot of writing, and I know that you guys are often, the only person running your business, or maybe you're working in a really small team. So the chances are that you guys do a lot of writing too. If I just can get the next slide, sorry. Thank you. So yeah, my aim for you guys today is just to walk you through some principles of copywriting that you can use to write clearly and persuasively, and ultimately make your customers say yes. So the first of these tips is to write simply and concisely. I think we are taught often in school that the best way to write is using really complicated words. They'll make us sound smarter, but actually what you want to do for your customers is to make it as easy for them as possible to read what you're writing, like whatever that may be. So we actually want to pitch your writing, and it sounds silly, but you want to write as if you're writing for an 8-year-old. You want that to be the level that they could understand, and that just means choosing. If you have, it's really easy. If you have a simpler word that you could use, then always use that word. And at the same time, we hear a lot about people's attention spans dropping, and it's true. So always write concisely, go back through what you've written and say, actually, can I get this down by 50%? And chances are, in a lot of cases, you probably can. Secondly is knowing your audience. So you guys are in this brilliant position here where you've probably started your own businesses. You speak to your customers in your shops, on email, over the phone. You know everything you need to know about your brand and what your customers are going to respond to. Next is always, this is just a great copywriting principle for anything, is to focus on benefits and not features. So, you know, if we think about a product description, if you are selling a moisturizer, it's a moisturizer with vitamin C in it, rather than saying this moisturizer has 4% vitamin C in it, you want to say this moisturizer will improve your complexion and brighten your skin tone because it has vitamin C in it. And it's just reframing to make sure you're always drawing out the benefit for the customer rather than just what the product has. And that's especially with like really technical products. I think it's easy to fall into the trap of just like, regurgitating features that don't mean a lot to people. And lastly is to back everything up. If you're going to say your product is the best on the market for this, like, you better make sure you've got a stat to prove that. That's something, I don't know if you guys are familiar with Beauty Pie, they do really well. For all their products, they have this like trial results section, and it will say like 98% of people, again, back to moisturizer, found this moisturizer made their skin softer in 4 weeks. Next slide. Thank you. And so I've just pulled out, as part of this, a list of words to use and a list of words to avoid. So words to use, it goes back to what Joao was saying earlier. This is all about words that are going to make people feel FOMO, make people feel included in a special club. It's all about kind of bringing out this emotional response in people, and that's not like making them laugh or making them cry. It's just tapping into their inner needs, basically. And on that list, I've also included the word you, because that is just a great, as soon as you start saying you in any kind of writing, you're really bringing your reader in. And words to avoid, they kind of fall into the camp of either they are kind of filler words, so really, obviously, very, or they kind of are vague, like think, or, you know, they're hyperbolic, which goes back to what we were saying before about not being able to back up big claims that you're throwing in without even realizing, like, is this going to change my life? Probably not. And next one. Cool. And then, so you guys, as I said, probably have to do some writing in your role. It doesn't mean you're going to be a natural at it. It doesn't mean you're going to always enjoy it, but there are tools out there to help you along the way. Like, it is part art and part science. So these are 3 here. Again, we'll have these slides ready for you guys after the presentation, so don't worry to note these down now, but these are 3 tools that I use regularly to check writing that I have done or find inspiration for something that I need to write for the first time. And then, I just included this slide to say, you know, I'm outlining some rules for copywriting. You've probably read loads before as well, but sometimes the best things happen when you break those rules. So we talked about not using superfluous words before, but imagine if, you know, Nike's iconic slogan, just do it. If someone had said, oh, actually, I think the just is superfluous there, you can just write, do it. Like, it would have completely lost its magic. It never would have had the longevity and the impact that it has so far. And then finally, I've just put some useful resources here for you guys. These are people I follow on Instagram, on LinkedIn, newsletters that I'm subscribed to. And that's just a really nice way to keep, you know, being inspired kind of like by osmosis just in your daily life. And the last thing to say, if you really can't get on with copywriting, if you really find it tedious and time consuming and you just don't enjoy it, there are so many fully saturated market of freelancers out there who you can easily hand stuff over to, or reach out to me if you need any help. My contact details will be at the end.
Thank you so much, Hannah. Now, we're going to have 2 of our email marketing gurus talk about email marketing. So please, Tijo, Sinead.
Thank you very much for the introduction, Joao. Yeah, so we will be talking about email marketing. So email marketing, it's the use of email to promote products or services while developing a relationship with your potential customers or clients. And email marketing is one of the oldest tricks in the book. And you might be wondering if it is too old and why are we still using it? Well, it still sells. Many of the big business and the small business still use email marketing because it still works. Unlike social media, email marketing doesn't really need algorithm or behavioral senses to go to their inbox. Because what is the one place everybody check on a daily basis? Not their social media. There are times when you don't go to Instagram, but you will never forget to go to your inbox. Because according to a research, 91% of the people go to the inbox every day. And that's where we're going to pan out and get our customers. And all those 6 points you have seen in this slide, I would like to call it a stages or life cycle of an email relationship with your clientele. And the first one, not spam. Many people would like to know, what is email marketing? It's got to be spam. Well, not all emails can be spam. And emails from an unknown sender or with a shady subject line can feel like a spam. For example, generic keywords or repeated titles. These are really feeling off, and it will often lead the customer to just delete these emails or click the unsubscribe button or move it to the spam folder. It's because they never asked for your email or you didn't add any value to those emails. That's when an email becomes a spam. But think about it like this. Your lovely grandma is sending you an email for Thanksgiving or Christmas. Are you just going to move it to the spam folder, or are you just going to be attentive and open them? Pretty sure you're going to open them. And just like that, if you add a value to that email, you will get their attention and it won't go to the spam folder. And to the next stage, which is the relationship. Once you have tackled not making it spam, and now your job is to create a relationship with them. Email marketing connects you directly with your customers through their inboxes and often to their to-do lists, because they can reshare, they can forward it to their friends and families, your emails. And by consistently providing this valuable content to your audience, they will begin to recognize your brand even before you plan to send them. They will start anticipating your emails. And that's how a brand creates a relationship with their customers. And once you have this strong customer set up, believe me, they will be waiting for your helpful tips and anything you send their way. Please don't send them spam. Now, since you have their attention, you can ask your subscribers relevant questions in their sign-up forms to your website or your e-commerce website. For example, it could be about what is their location, their birthday, what type of services they're expecting from you, what are their interests. You segment them based on their behaviors. And now you can send them tailored emails. That's when you personalize these emails. You're gonna send people who are interested in automobile tips. You're gonna send people who are interested in candle making tips. Believe me, there are tons of ways to segment them. And there are many tools who can help you with this. And once you segmented these emails, the next stage is to promote your marketing content, such as newsletters, your new product signups, your gifts, goodies, anything. There are so many ways to start segmenting, and there are so many ways to reach out to them. Now, once you send these messages or emails to them in the forms of newsletters or anything, make sure the subject line is catchy, make sure they go hunting for clicking that CTA button or click to action button. And with any business, especially with a small business, there's always time and budget constraints. We understand that not everyone can afford the big tools. Well, don't worry. There are many affordable tools out there, even for big business as well as small business. So if you're someone who cannot afford that luxury of a big featured tool, like an email tool, you don't have to go for the big one. There are many tools out there like MailChimp, Sendinblue, HubSpot, CakeMail, MailerLite, SendGrid, and Sendy. My personal favorite is MailChimp or HubSpot. We personally use HubSpot. It's always good for a big team, HubSpot. And if you're someone who have the means and finance or the personals to support you and your marketing needs with email, we will definitely ask you to go for HubSpot. But If you're someone who cannot afford that big of a budget and something, go for MailChimp. They have very affordable plans, and that will help you with tracking, with your email templates. They will help you segment your audience and everything. And anything of such need can be met through these people. And off to Sinead, and she will help you understand how to personalize these and how to make your content marketable, more interesting. Off to you, Sinead.
Okay, thank you, Tijo, and thanks everyone for participating in our webinar today. Before I talk a little bit about making the most of email, let's understand why it's still so important today. I'm sure many of you have seen the statistic floating around that states that email generates £36 for every £1 spent. Ultimately, it's cheap and simple to use, and therefore a vital touch point for any small business. So let's say you're already using email. It could be time to start optimizing this process. As Tijo mentioned, a good way to start is with personalized emails. They're an ideal way to build customer relations and have an average of 6 times higher transaction results. So how could you as a small business implement this strategy? Firstly, subject lines. Using a name in your subject line could be exactly what gets your next sale, with these emails having on average 22% higher open rates. Secondly, think about kickstarting your own welcome series. Not only is this a great way to show your future customers that you're glad they've discovered you and your store, this could be a good touch point for offering a welcome discount, one that accelerates their first purchase or even directs them to your best sellers or helps them navigate your store page. Finally, we've all received those birthday discount emails in our inbox, and that's because they really work. It's reported that birthday discount emails have a 402% higher conversion rate than any other email. So at this point of optimization, you may want to consider investing in a CRM system like Tijo mentioned. So services like MailChimp and HubSpot actually give you the option to automate your emails and design workflows. So it makes personalizing these emails that much easier, saving you time and effort while keeping your customers engaged. So moving on to promoting your content. Emails can also be a huge advantage when trying to boost website traffic. So by sharing your blog posts via email, customers could discover content that relates to them that they may not have found otherwise. So this not only nurtures your leads, keeping your store at the forefront of their minds, but could create discussion and build community around topics that both you and your customer relate to. So finally, email is a core resource for marketing your products. And it really pays to know when exactly is the right time to send. Of course, there's no one recipe and results are always going to differ, whether for different regions or audiences, and even for specific users. Yet there's certain statistics that prove when exactly our best chances are. For example, Mondays and Thursdays tend to be much busier days for e-commerce, meaning this could be an ideal time to send customers a new range that you've launched, or maybe even an email about a best-selling product that's just been restocked on your page. There are also certain times of day that work better than others. So it's good to get to know your customers and figure out the schedule that really suits your business and audience best. So that's everything from me. If you have any questions, yeah, just send me an email and contact information will be at the end. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sinead. Yeah, now we're off to Hannah again, who will be talking to everyone about SEO and how to rank well on Google.
Hi again, everyone. Yeah, so I'm just going to run you through some key points for SEO. I know SEO is something that I find very interesting, and I know that I'm in the minority there, so I'm not going to go on about it for too long. But again, coming back to what I said earlier, I know you guys are working in really small teams and you're not engineers, neither am I. So what I want to show you today, first to give you an overview of SEO and kind of what it is and how it works, but also some really actionable stuff that all of you can go away and do today to give your store a better chance of ranking well. So first of all, what is SEO? It stands for search engine optimization. It's all about why Google or another search engine chooses to show websites in a certain order, and what you want is for your website to be well optimized for what your website is about, which means that when people are searching for relevant things, it comes up near the top, basically. So next slide, please. So when Google is deciding which websites to put above which, it's got over 200 ranking factors to determine this. And like broadly speaking, we can put them into two camps. So there's factors relating to content, and there's factors that relate much more to tech. So I've picked out some key ones, which we're going to talk a little bit about today. So on the content side, you want the content you're producing, whether that's the copy on your category description pages or your blog posts, you want this to always be unique, relevant and original, and just simply put, the best it can be. In terms of links are a great way to show Google that your website is trustworthy. If you think about how easy it is to create a website now with tools like Wix, where you can create them for free, there are millions of websites out there, many of them half finished, many of them lying completely dormant, never worked on. So to distinguish your website from those kind of websites, linking is if people are linking to your website, it shows that it's a trusted source. Basically, it's a great signal to Google that people trust your website. And then variety of media, chances are you already have, copy, text and images on your website. But if you think about, the explosion of TikTok and Reels, could you incorporate some videos? Could you try embedding some social posts? I think people, it's easy to think of SEO as this like mystical practice, but actually Google wants to create a great user experience and is going to prioritize websites that are doing just that. And we know that users like video. So switching up the media that you have on your website is a great place to start. And reviews, again, this goes back to trust. If you have lots of reviews to your site, that's a great signal. Over on the tech side, is your content, does it look good on mobile? Is it all usable from mobile? Do your pages load quickly? There's a statistic, I think it's 70% of people will drop off a website if it doesn't load properly within 3 seconds. And then this one's less for users, more for, the bots that are actually crawling your website to rank it. But is your URL structure easy to follow? Is it logical? Is it, are you taken off into a million subcategories, or is it all quite straightforward? Next slide, please. So first of all, on the content side, I've just picked out a few things. Again, as I said, that you can go away and do today to make a difference now. I say now, SEO is kind of an investment for the future, but in a few months when Google picks up on these changes, you will see some impact from doing these things. So firstly, if you don't already have a blog, start a blog. It's a great way to show that your website is current, that you have some more complex and long form content on there, and you can also target some of these longer keywords. So if you are selling candles, you might write a blog which is how to make a candle as an example. If you don't, if you don't already have product and category descriptions, add them. If you do have them, add to them and make sure they contain keywords which are relevant to your product or your product category. So on the Creoate website, say if we have one of our categories is, again, for the candles, then we would want to include the term wholesale candles, because we know that's how people searching for that, our page is very relevant for that, and we just need to spell that out to Google that there's the connection there. And revisit your about page. I think about pages are such a wonderful tool for your customers anyway, to be honest, but also goes back to that thing of trust, of putting your face and your story to your business. And I've spoken to loads of you. I know you have, each one of you has a really lovely story about how and why you started your business and how you run it. And then switch into this mindset of thinking when you approach PR or, you know, that kind of thing, switch to thinking about how you can also get some SEO value out of it. So, you know, word of mouth and brand recognition is great, but also think, you know, when you're reaching out for these opportunities, also say, can I have a link back to my site? Or once a piece of coverage has gone live, like, would you mind adding this link back to my website? It would really help, you know, help grow my website. Next slide, please. And then, cool, on the technical side, so images, if your site is slow, and I'm going to show you a tool to, and I'm going to show you a tool which you can use to like find out how fast it is. Sorry, back. Yeah, if your site is slowed down, the chances are it could be through having too many high definition images on there. If you just Google free image compressor, there are loads of tools out there. I use one called Tiny PNG, which you can run all your images through, and it will just lessen the file size of them without making them visually look much different. And that's just a really simple way to kind of lighten the load of your website. Again, we talked about the URL structure. You want, if you have an e-commerce website, you want each product or each category to be as few clicks away from the homepage as possible. So try to think about, you know, mapping that out and making that scalable. Prioritize local SEO. If you do have a physical store, you know, make sure you're on Google My Business. Encourage people to leave reviews. And then lastly, just adapt this like mobile first mindset, because Google looks at the mobile version of your site when it's deciding how to rank your website. It doesn't actually look at the desktop version, even though I'd imagine like that's where most of you make changes to your website. That's what I would do, because you can obviously see things a lot more clearly, but just make sure you're always checking the mobile experience as well. Yeah, and then finally, as with the copywriting, you know, there are loads of tools out there. These are 3 that I use, all of them. Google Page Insights is free. That's how you can see how fast your website is. The other 2 aren't free, but do have free versions, or you can do certain things on the free version. So these are tools that I would recommend to kind of support you in growing your organic traffic through SEO. And that's it from me.
Thank you so much, Hannah. Yeah, now off to talk about landing page optimization and social media marketing. Let's begin with landing page optimization. So the landing page optimization is like your storefront. It's perhaps the most important page in your whole website. And I think it incorporates everything that the team has been talking until now. Every tactic that you're going to be using in your emails, every content strategy and content tip that Hannah has shared with you today, all the psychological principles we talked about, these will govern how your visitors and customers interact with your brand. This is how you display your brand ethos, your brand promises at first sight. So there's 5 main points that we'd like to break down here today. We'll begin with the first one, being the headline. The headline should always be linked to the outcome that you want your customers to leave with in the end of the experience of shopping with you in this example, let's say. So we always want to focus on the value you're adding to your customers, the outcome you want to generate, and we want to keep it simple. We want to keep it using copy that a 10-year-old can understand, so there's never any misunderstanding of what your brand is promising to do for your customers. The second is the subheading. So you want to explain how that outcome is achieved very succinctly, connecting directly with your brand and the products and services that you're selling. And that should never be more than 2 sentences. And hopefully we want to summarize it in one easy sentence that is snappy enough and catchy enough to resonate with our audience. Number 3 is we want the visitor to visualize either our customer base, our audience, or the product itself of what we're trying to sell here. So in many different instances, you might want to display specific customers using your product. You might want to display your store. You might want to display a picture of the actual outcome after having purchased a specific product, an outcome of happiness, an outcome of achievement, whatever it is that we want to be conveying. We want to. It's a great opportunity to be visual and really express what your brand promise is through an image, right? An image speaks louder than 1,000 words. So here's our chance to do that. Number 4 links back to that psychological principle we talked about earlier, which is social proof. So we want to connect our landing page to our community, to our audience, and to this group that our visitors and customers are probably wanting to be part of, right? We want to show that there's other people like them with similar values, with similar ambitions, that are shopping in the same place, that are trusting the brand in the same way, and that should convert leads like almost no other tactic. So if you don't have that on your homepage, please add it. It's a very powerful tactic, and it really works. And 5th, like TJ mentioned in our email marketing segment, we want to have very clear call to actions on our pages. We don't want to allow we don't want to not have the option for our customers to interact with us, right? So we want to be very clear, very succinct in what the next process of the interaction with our brand is. So these are the main aspects of it. And now I just wanted to talk also about social media a little bit. Again, marketing is all about how we communicate with our customers, how we put our products and services in front of them. And nowadays, our audience, our customer base, they are living through social media. They're interacting with our brands on a daily basis through social media. I think a great inspiration for social media tactics in general could be this individual, Gary Vaynerchuk, who's a famous marketer in the USA. And he has 2 main pillars that I think are very relevant for anyone here in this webinar to start applying today. I'll begin with the documenting your journey. He has this principle about the hardship of producing content in large volume and consistency when you're trying to create content, when you're trying to create experiences or create value. Instead, he suggests something really outside the box for many people, which is just document your journey. Document what the people in your company are like, what the offices are like, what the day-to-day life of setting up a store is like, or even the hardships. I think most people will connect with that, with the authenticity that brings, than anything else. So I think this advice that he suggests is one of the most powerful tactics we can use to actually amplify your social media following and the loyalty that our following has with our brand. The idea that you can post consistently on a daily basis, which is what truly makes a difference in the end of the day, is easily achieved by instead of documenting your journey and creating content out of that. The second one I think is really interesting as well, which is how he dives deep into the communities and the interactions within the community that you're trying to serve. So one example, of course, is his Instagram strategy, where he finds the best hashtags, leaves comments on those, and makes sure that people know who he is within those threads, right? I think that's super powerful, super underutilized by people because it really takes a lot of work, but it pays off in spades over the long term. Anything we do in social media and content in SEO, as Hannah said, it's a small move, but that compounds. We know that compounding is the 8th wonder of the world, as I believe it was Einstein who said it. So I think this is incredibly true for social media. If you start today, post every day, in a year, the effects are dramatic and we won't even recognize ourselves after. He also suggests a process to these 2 strategies, which I think is super useful. There's this whole idea of content repurposing, which drives value for almost any type of business. So you want to, for example, in his example of documenting your journey, you want to create a long form piece of content in a specific medium. That could be a video, that could be an Ask Me Anything live stream, it could be a webinar as we're doing now. it could be podcasts, white papers, whatever it is. And from that single piece of content that maybe took you weeks to get done, you can translate that into hundreds of shorter form content pieces. So those could be articles, those could be memes, those could be Instagram stories, those could be GIFs. And the power of doing that is that then you're able to schedule for that consistent posting every single day without losing momentum that is necessary to drive growth and engagement. So that strategy is not something easy to do, but it is simple to do once you get the process clear with your team and your company. And the third element is just distribute in all platforms. Obviously, you want to analyze what type of what channels your customer base and communities are interacting in, right? And that's very important to analyze. First of all, that's everything we're talking here. Let data drive you towards the right tactic, but you want to be posting consistently in the channels that your audience is engaging in every day. Now off to Will, who will talk with us a bit about performance marketing and paid ads and everything.
Thank you so much, Joe. I appreciate it. Hi, everybody again. We're going to talk about something very dear and close to my heart, which is performance marketing. So why don't we go to the next slide? So performance marketing is something that we often think it is either too expensive or it's not going to drive results, or for some reason we don't feel like it's something we should do, especially where we're looking at retail stores or when we're seeing that we're just starting out. And one of the things I want to emphasize is that you could start with performance marketing with a pretty basic campaign at any stage within your journey. So even if you're just starting out, or if you're a couple of years in business, or if most of your business is foot traffic, performance marketing can actually help you achieve whatever goal you're trying to do. If it's driving more leads or driving more purchases through your e-commerce, or more walk-in traffic, or even more calls, or something like that. So what we're going to look at right now is the funnel. So when we talk about performance marketing, we always talk about that funnel, right? What is it that we're trying to do in a digital sense? And we'll put an example up here regarding like e-commerce. So we have a very basic ad. We have Facebook right here, but it could be Facebook, it could be Google, it could be a display ad, it could be a search ad for Google. And once that person goes into, or kind of identifies with that ad, they're going to click on it because they like the picture, they like the creative, or maybe the text, maybe some of the content there is exciting or is what they're looking for. And inevitably, we're going to send them to a landing page. Now, why are we sending them to a landing page and not the actual website or not the actual product? Most of the time, we send them to a landing page if we want to educate the user a little bit more about what we are trying to offer, or about the product, or about, in this case, it could be service or products or things like that. Or we want to curate their experience to drive them into a specific outcome. So if we're looking at ads that are targeting the example that we all use today, candles, for some reason. We want to curate that so they go into a landing page where we talk about, and they can see all of the candles, not just the home page of the website, but something where they can see at a minimum, these are all the candles that we have, or this is that particular candle that we were trying to sell that's made out of, some exotic, sustainable wax that, took 500 years to whatever, and it's very expensive, but it's also very unique. And we want, especially for products that are a little bit more costly, we want to actually present that history and that story of that particular product, and not just a static picture with a buy now button. Let's say they do like the product, that exotic candle we were just talking about, and they add it to cart. So at this point, we're actually keeping them in that funnel. They go to add to cart. Either a good outcome is they pay, they complete their purchase, and we're all happy, or maybe they abandon the cart and they're like, I don't know about that exotic candle. It's 5 times the price of a normal candle. So then they abandon the cart and then they bounce out, and you're like, oh, well, lost them. They walked out the door. This is where we can start using retargeting ads. So we can create custom audiences of people that have visited the site, that have actually added to cart, that were about to buy, and then they backed out for some reason. Maybe they were busy. Maybe their kid was screaming. I know that's what happens when I try to buy something. But in this case, for any reason, they did not purchase. So we can retarget them with a remarketing ad based on that audience on the same channel that we brought them in the first place, because chances are they're going to be hanging out there. Once we know this is the retargeting ad and we create that certain custom audience, then again, we're going to give them a different offer. Like, hey, by the way, maybe you could offer at this stage a discount or free shipping, or something that would incite them. Well, I wasn't too sure about that exotic candle, but now with free shipping, that makes all the difference. I'll go buy it. As an example, they go again to this promotion landing page, and the outcome is after that they see they were already interested in this product, but now on top of it they have 10% discount, or they have 5%, or whatever it is. So they have 2 for 1, whatever it is, that promotion that you want to offer them, but tend to offer them something a little bit extra that will help them push them over the line. They go to checkout, and then in this case, the purchase is completed. This is a very simple, basic funnel of how e-commerce kind of would work. There's very nuanced, and there's a lot of things going on there, but a good example of what we could do. Then, main problems that we want to avoid in email marketing, in paid marketing, is, most of the time, we don't actually target the correct audience, or we create an ad and we're like, oh, this is going to be for females or males, or this is going to be for people that, are from 18 to 30 or something like that. And I always say this, and I always give this example to everybody. Traditional segmentation is really not what it used to be. Let's say you and I live in the same city and we're about the same age, maybe we're married. Traditional marketing would say like, oh yeah, they're the same, market, content, everything the same. But maybe when I want to buy a new car, I actually, just want the cheapest convertible they have, or just want, a car that's red, whereas you might be interested in what kind of engine does it have, what kind of safety features it has, what the resale value is going to be. So even though we have very different, we are very similar on paper, our buying decisions and our patterns are significantly different. So really pinpointing your right audience is key. And then, the other thing that we want to focus on is, really try to get the most value out of this. We often either don't capture the right kind of lead, or we don't have enough detail, and as a result, we're actually not getting the correct, and our cost per click, let's say, our cost per lead is actually increased because we don't have other information. So we can get lead forms for that. If it is my business kind of ad for your retail store, you could always get, okay, well, here's a sign up form for them to contact you and book an appointment, or here's a number for you to call them instantly. So really not letting them leave without performing some sort of action. The most important thing I would say, and it's definitely not the last or the least, is really looking at the data and the analytics, making it work for you. Data is king now. So really seeing how many people actually clicked, have it from this campaign, and maybe you're shopping in your online store, how many actually purchased, not just creating an ad or just creating an account. Maybe you got a lot of signups but no purchases, or maybe you actually see a campaign and you optimize it for purchasing and you see that the purchase cost is really expensive. Well, really go and look at your other campaigns, because at the end of the day, maybe you're looking at the wrong metrics and maybe you're measuring something as a sign up as something that could bring value. But even though the purchase is more expensive, at the end of the day, it might be cheaper. So really analyzing those things is key. Keep in mind, there is a campaign for every budget, and we're going to have, this is such a huge, such a huge topic that we kind of on purpose made it a little bit short, because we're going to do a complete webinar just on performance marketing. And this will actually be meant for retail businesses as well as small e-commerce stores or even Instagram stores and things like that. So, keep tuned to that. But overall, if you kind of stick to this, I think you'll have a good start. Oh, my favorite. I'm going to put my marketing hat on again. Where is that thing? So Creoate month, right? We talked about it. And, as I mentioned, 20% off anybody attending or any friend of a friend that's attending. You get 20% off on any order if it's done this month. But additionally, we'll give you an additional 10% off on your next 2 orders by using the code Creoate20. Any new user to Creoate is going to get 25% off their first order. And the big, take 200 off campaign, which is fantastic. Whatever order, whatever it is, I don't care if it's those fancy candles that we talked about, or, chili oil that we sold or sell that is fantastic, by the way, I highly recommend it. Buy that. As long as the order is 400 or above, you get 200 pounds off that order. Code is take 200. These are valid only for January to celebrate our anniversary. All righty. So thank you so much, everybody, for attending. A big thank you from each and every one of us. Our contact information is right there. If you guys have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact us. And I leave it to you, Joao. And thank you from my end.
Thank you so much, everyone, for sticking with us until now. Yeah, please bear in mind, we will be sending the slides over to you today with the codes, with all this content. And as Will said, this is just the starting webinar of a series of webinars that we're planning on doing to cover every specific topic we talked about today. There's so much nuance to marketing and to specific areas of marketing. Yeah, we don't want to let just an overview cover everything for you guys. So yeah, please tune in for updates on that front. And thank you to the team, and thank you for everyone for being with us today.
Fantastic. So let me look in. Do we have any questions? We have. Okay, yeah, that's going to be sent out today. So good. Yeah, I think everything's set. All right, guys. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful rest of the week. Bye.